with me, Dingdaw, on our talk show, where you can find trending issues, new insights, and new perspectives. Ding down the door, ding ding ding. I hope you all are doing great because today we are going to talk about something interesting, and I believe most of you feel related to this topic, especially for Gen Z. Nowadays, conversations about mental health have become more open and more common. People are not embarrassed anymore to talk about this, especially Gen Z. Through social media, education, and daily interactions, awareness about mental health continues to grow and shape the way young people see themselves and others. So, today, we are going to explore different thoughts, experiences, and perspectives regarding Gen Z's awareness towards mental health. It's going to be a very interesting discussion, so stay tuned and enjoy the conversation with us. Now, without further ado, let's meet our amazing speakers who are here today to share their opinions and insights about this topic. Thank you for joining us today. We can't wait to hear your thoughts and dive into this exciting discussion together. But how about we hear about yourself first? Please introduce yourself, guys.
Hello everyone, my name is Yulia Shafira. As a psychology student, I'm 20 years old.
My name is Pascal Laura, just Pascal, and I'm a high school student. I am 17 years old.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Rambak. I'm a senior high school teacher and I'm 50 years old. So.
And my name is Aini Akanapaisa, just call me Napa. I'm a journalist. I am 35 years old.
Okay, it's amazing, guys. We have people from different generations here. It's going to be very interesting. Now that everyone's introduced themselves, let's dive into our first question. Do you think that Gen Z's empathy toward mental health influences their ability to survive life challenges? Maybe we can start from our Gen Z friends first, Yulia and Pascal. Please.
Yes, I do. As a psychology student, I believe that empathy towards mental health helps Gen Z more aware of emotions, both in themselves and others. This awareness encourages people to ask for help, talk openly, and find better ways to deal with emotions or problems. According to the World Health Organization 2022, mental health awareness and emotional support are important in helping young people build coping skills and stay strong during difficult situations.
Okay. How about Pascal?
I think that yes, Gen Z's empathy towards mental health actually helps them face life challenges better because they know when to seek and ask for help instead of bottling up their emotions from generations to generations. And also, according to the American Psychological Association, Gen Z is more likely to seek help for stress and anxiety than older generations. And the study shows that basically mental health awareness helps Gen Z handle problems in healthier ways and become more aware and resilient.
Okay, that's interesting. So you both have some similar opinions, right? How about you, Yuda and Ainia? Do you agree with them or not?
I'm sorry, but I have to disagree because as a senior high school teacher, I think that Gen Z's over empathy towards mental health is actually make them more emotionally and mentally weaker than make them stronger, because the scientists call it as the avoidance coping. It's where people often to avoid problem, even small problem, instead of just fighting back. And I've seen this because in my school, I've seen many of my students that after the exam they took a long break, or even if they got a bad grade, many of their friends, instead of telling them to study harder, they more care about their anxiety, their sadness, and emotion is basically similar like physical. If you want your emotion to become more stronger, you have to train it. The same like when you go to the gym, if you want to gain your muscle, you have to train your body. You have to be tired, because no pain, no gain, right? So the same thing like emotion and mental being. If you want your emotion to become more stronger, you have to face a difficult real life world situations. And therefore, I think that by validating minor stress, the Gen Z will be very hard for them to build the toughness that they need to survive on a real life world problems.
That's great. How about Ania?
I have to disagree with that statement. While empathy sounds nice, as a journalist, it can actually backfire. There's a trend where the definition of mental health is explained too broadly, and normal everyday stress is taken too far. From what I see in the media, Gen Z can become too sensitive. Bad day at work or bad grade is easily labeled as trauma or burnout, because they over-focus on mental health. They lower the tolerance for small problems instead of making them survive. This hyper awareness may actually stop them from building real strength and grit.
Okay, that's great. So here we have some different opposite opinions, guys. Okay, let's move on to our second and last question. Do you think that openly discussing about mental health affects Gen Z's mental strength in facing problems? Here we can start with you and Ania, maybe, please.
Yes, I do agree with that statement, but my claim is that openly discussing about mental health is make Gen Z become mentally weaker instead of stronger. Because the scientists call this as the concept creep. It's where the people is treating like a normal or small stress like it's serious sickness. Because as a senior high school student who have been teaching for more than 30 years and have been handled many students, I see that many students, when they, for example, get an exam, many of them, instead of like just fighting it back, facing the way, study harder, some of them like some of them have many anxiety and anxious about the exam, and many of my students also like Google about normal mental health word things, even though it doesn't entirely true, and they treat it as an excuse to escape with their problems. Because I think that Gen Z people, or even my student myself, they think that overthinking is like their solution to get away with their problems. But instead, in reality, I think overthinking is just a defense mechanism that make them to avoid the vulnerability. So, therefore, I think that instead of focusing too much on mental health that just make you feel more depressed, more sad, I think it's better for Gen Z overall to focus on their to focus on the solution instead of to focus on their problem, on their feeling, because in the end, that like what I said before, if you want to train your mental and your emotion to become stronger, you have to face it. So that's why I think stress, burnout, and etc. is a very normal, because we are live in a very challenging world, and that's why in order for us to survive in this world, we have to become strong. We have to fight the toughness.
Okay, that's great. How about Anian?
Yes, I don't think that's actually true. Honestly, I love open discussion. Might actually become the main constraint. The reality is how even talking is big, but mental health the most, they actually have the most emotional well-being compared to older generation. As a journalist, I see that talking about it too much on social media can create on echo viewers. It makes them focus too much on being victim when young people talk about their problems online without professional help. They often use mental health and accuse to escape challenge, so open discussion doesn't always build strength. Sometimes it just makes them avoid accountability.
Oh, I see. And how about you guys, Yulia and Pascal?
Yes, but it depends on how the discussion is handled. Open discussion can reduce stigma and make people feel less alone. However, if people only focus on the sadness without learning how to solve the problems, it can reduce resilience. According to the UNICEF 2021, supportive conversation about mental health can help teenagers understood, lower emotional stress, and become stronger when facing challenges.
Okay, how about Pascal? What do you think?
I think, in my opinion, if discussing openly about mental health can be healthy, but there is a point where it gets unhealthy. I think the point of discussing mental health is accepting that you are human, and our human brain is so complex, and there's so many ways, both dangerous and healthy ways, that people do to cope with problems, like even though it's simple everyday problems. Not everyone has the privilege to behave normally. And so with Gen Z, like openly discussing mental health, and them being the generation that's more aware of this topic, and with them being the generation that is surrounded with social media, I think it really does help reduce stigma, and it makes people feel less alone, because since Gen Z is a generation dominated by internet, they use TikTok and Instagram, Twitter, every social media, you name it, to share their own experiences with like stress or anxiety, and this creates like a supportive community and like encouraging emotional resilience. So I think as long as it's a healthy way of coping, being aware of, like being aware of your mental health is a good thing because it helps you learn how to cope in a healthier way.
Okay, that's very interesting. So we got so much insights and quite opposite opinions from our speakers here that come from different generations. After listening to our speakers, we can see that Gen Z's awareness toward mental health has both positive and challenging sides. In the end, this discussion shows us that mental health awareness is important, but it should be accompanied by balance and in the end, this discussion shows us that mental health awareness is a very important topic, but it should also be accompanied by balanced personal growth and ability to face challenges in a healthy way. And that brings us to the end of our talk show today. A big thank you for all of you guys. You have so much insight that you gave to us. And we hope today's conversation gives us a better understanding that mental health is an important topic that can be seen by different perspectives. I am Dingdaw and thank you for watching us. See you in the next interesting topic, interesting discussion on Dingdaw Door. Ding, ding, ding.
I just had to let you know you're